Hey, everybody. Welcome back or welcome to the Practical Mystics podcast, where we have modern spiritual conversations about the mess, the magic, and everything in between. I'm Shannon Haffel.
And I'm Kimberly Crawford. Thank you for joining us on episode 9. We are on location in Boulder Creek, California.
Yeah.
So pretty excited about the new environment that we're in.
Yes. And we're together in the same room
Live in
instead of
person,
on two different screens. So that's a new,
right? New endeavor.
yeah.
And so for those of you who are listening and not watching us, Um, we have a front row seat to a beautiful running creek. We've got majestic redwoods outside of our windows and ferns and all this green foliage. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is my home also.
Yes, and Shannon's husband has been amazing and has created like this studio for us, which is completely different.
Yeah.
And yeah, teaching us how to up level. So,
Yeah. So we have a fancy camera and we've got some big lights.
mhm,
And so this is feeling a little more official
yes.
than some of the past episodes.
It feels great. It feels fantastic. But see, it's the power of manifesting because we've been
Yeah.
calling in a producer
Yeah.
and that's what we got. That's what we
Yeah.
got today.
Yeah. So my great husband showed up and he's our first producer. Yeah. So this is,
Today, we've got, we wanted to talk about reducing things in our life in order to make room for our beingness
yeah.
versus adding habits or adding on thinking that that's what's going to manifest or change us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I was participating in a group conversation with a spiritual group, and the gal who was leading the call was talking about how on our spiritual journey there tends to be a lot of adding things. Like you might hear about downloads or key codes or just bringing in things. And what the conversation was about is most of the time there's stuff that we have to just get rid of that
Mm.
we've picked up along our journey and our human, you know,
Programming.
adventure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And things that we've picked up from our culture or
Yeah.
our family. And I think we've talked about this a little bit
I think
in
so.
a past episode because it's a pretty big theme of being on a spiritual journey.
Life.
Yeah. So, okay, I need to acknowledge something. I feel a little, this is like awkward.
It is.
Do
It's
you feel
different.
awkward?
A little
Okay.
bit. Well, there's some.
Okay. I guess now's the time. For
Maybe.
those of you who are listening, you can't see this. I really do encourage listeners to hop on our YouTube channel at some point because there's so many antics in the visual realm that you're missing out on. Like
Oh
the
yeah, the
goats,
goats.
and the goats are still missing.
The goats are missing.
Okay.
Oh, they don't know that. So in episode 7,
I think so.
spring equinox, we were on our ranch and in the background, Shannon saw one of my goats sneaking up on us in the background.
Yeah.
So Nosy, so it was Nosy and Nelly, and they escaped, and we spent better part of a week looking for them, and they're nowhere to be found. So we're hoping they're having a grand adventure
Yeah.
and maybe they found another place to live that's even more spectacular, so fantastic for them,
Yeah.
and that they outsmarted the coyotes. So,
Yeah. Okay. Best wishes to
Nosy
Nosy
and
and
Nelly.
Nelly, wherever they may be. But back to the, for
Yeah.
those of you who are watching, I have this beautiful, glittery, what do you call this? Sash
Yeah.
that says birthday girl on it, and this
Mhm.
beautiful gold and pink tiara. So it's my birthday on the 13th, which is 2 days from now when we're recording. And
Yeah.
Kimberly came to spend the weekend here and gave us an opportunity to record in person. And she brought this birthday outfit for me to sport, and so I'm feeling very
Yeah.
fancy.
Yeah, well, hey, we've got to celebrate our special people, and you are a gift to the world.
Oh,
So on your birthday, I just wanted to make sure that that was celebrated and acknowledged.
thank you, Mike.
Oh,
Appreciate that.
and you look fantastic. You're rocking it. I think that's Safeway material. That's going to
Oh,
work material. I mean, the whole
oh,
week you should absolutely be like, this
okay.
is the MO.
This is my birthday outfit for the week. All right. I'm going to see if I have the courage to actually do that, but it sounds
That'd
like
be
a
great. I need a
challenge.
pictures. I need pictures.
Yeah. I tend to like be motivated by challenges. If
Yeah.
somebody says something like I can't do something, I was just like, "Oh,
Now I gotta.
now you're going to have to watch me do that." So, yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. So, in regards to our topic for today, why did we want to bring it up to the forefront of asking people to look at their lives
Yeah.
and edit and do an assessment of like what they can get rid of?
Yeah.
Why do we feel like that's more effective than getting on Instagram, seeing the new cool reel, and then like add that habit?
Yeah, or add, yeah, anything.
Right.
I mean, habits actually are maybe good.
Can be great.
Yeah.
They can be fantastic.
So in the conversation of like spirituality, when we're talking about increasing our frequency and our vibration and getting rid of a bunch of the fuckery in life
Hmm.
and having maybe more ease.
Hmm.
Oh, I think we shouldn't have an F word too early on in the
Oh,
thing for you too, but
you're fine.
okay.
We're good.
I guess we'll learn.
Our people know.
So, yeah, so like we are born with everything we need within us. And then a whole bunch of crap just gets stacked on it.
Yeah.
And then we forget part of being human is we come here and we forget who we really are as
Yeah.
souls and spirits and our ability to like love unconditionally and manifest, create whatever we want. And, so we land here in Earth school and then we have to figure it out. And so the idea came up with like instead of just continuing thinking we have to just add more and have this download and do this thing, and by looking at what's not working for us in our habits and behaviors and beliefs and ways of being and the ways we think, it allows us to start shedding. And as we get rid of those things that are no longer working for us and we become more conscious of who we're being in the world, how we're impacting other people, what kind of conversations are going on in our head, all of these things are impacting our frequency and our ability to attract the things we want. And so by shedding those things, it actually allows our own soul light to fill in all those spaces,
Hmm.
and we start becoming our truest self, like our I don't know, how else would you
Yeah.
say that?
I would just, yeah, you're returning to essence,
Yeah.
really. I think that I'll speak for myself. I can get lost in the acquiring,
Mm.
and then as I acquire things, I don't take into account the stewardship that is required
Ah.
to have to hold on to all of the things. And then there's a point where at first there's enjoyment. Oh, I've acquired this. But then now my personality
Mm.
is trying to fit that into who I am as well,
Mm.
whether it's owning a house or a certain kind of pets or whatever. Or even it could be dancing and going to a class, and now I have this certificate and I
Right.
can do this thing and I want to be known for whatever. Um, and it's that stacking on. And it's like
Mhm.
if I look at it like you have a window and you put a layer of curtains and then you put another layer and another layer and
Yeah, that's a great way
so
to look at it.
you know it's it's like, who's Kimberly?
Right.
Right? So as we go through this spiritual journey that we're all on
Mhm.
and this awakening, it's remembering who we are versus, yes, there's a level of cultivation, but it's mostly remembering.
Yeah, remembering who we are at our core, and instead of who we've become to, like, fit in or
Hmm.
make other people feel comfortable
Or
or
happy.
happy.
Pleasing other people for sure.
Yeah, or having to be a certain way that maybe doesn't even feel good to us in order to fit into a community or a job or something like that. And so you know, uh, I'm turning 56 in 2 days, and I've been on this journey a long time, and so I've had time to look and see, like, who have I been being that isn't authentically me,
Mm.
that has, like, I've been a chameleon a lot of my life to kind of fit in wherever I needed to fit in,
Mhm.
which felt like a superpower for a long time.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, and I think it is.
Absolutely.
Well,
It's
survival.
survival. Yep.
Yep.
Adaptation. 100%.
Yeah, and that's a real thing. But then you get to a point in life where maybe you start having thoughts or feelings where, well, this is what I did happen to me, is where I was like, who am I?
Mm.
There was actually a time where, so I had been out of high school for 2 years and I started adulting right away.
Yeah.
So I had a mortgage at 20 and therefore I had to keep this full time job and keep it to, pay for all the things. And then 2 years later, brother, my brother graduated. He's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
And he bought a round the world plane ticket to go travel.
Amazing. I didn't
And
even know this existed.
yeah,
I didn't know that was a thing.
I don't know if it still is, but this was back in the late 80s,
Okay.
or he graduated in 90. But anyway, so he's like off on this grand adventure, and we're at a graduation party for my brother and sister who are twins. And we're, talking about this big trip. And I said to my mom, I was like, I didn't know that was an option.
Wow. Hold
And
on. Pause. You didn't know that was an option.
I didn't know that was an option because I was buying into the should be how you're supposed to do life
Yep.
based on my family culture, the culture of where I grew up.
Yeah.
It was like you graduate high school, you either go to college or you get some kind of trade and go to work
Yep.
and you buy the things. And that was
Mm.
kind of the life trajectory of what was in my realm of
Because
reality.
that's what was modeled.
So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
And so I said to my mom, I was like, I didn't know that was an option. And if I didn't have this house and full-time job to keep the house, I would buy a plane ticket and go travel with my brother. And my mom looked at me, she was like, "You?" And in that moment, I was like, I haven't been in touch with my authentic self.
Ooh.
And my mom doesn't even know who I am, like, way deep down inside. And that right there was
Wow.
like a pivotal point in my life where I started looking at, like, who am I creating myself? How am I creating my life?
Yeah.
And is it actually pleasing me? Or is it because that's the way you're supposed to do things?
I call that the case of the shoulds.
The shoulds. Yeah.
It's like, do you guys ever have a case of the shoulds?
Yeah. This should be life. This should be career. Um,
This
yeah.
should be behavior. I should be doing this. So then therefore the shoulds have a consistency of duty,
Yep.
um, of pleasing,
Hmm.
right?
Others, not necessarily yourself.
100% not about you.
Yeah.
It's very externally motivated,
Yeah.
the shoulds, the case of the shoulds. And because it's externally motivated, we're looking outside,
Yeah.
or I'll just say I look outside, or I'll look on social media or
Yeah.
where some of my friends are. And it's like, "Ugh, I should have my books all published. I should have this. I
Right.
should have attained this and that and whatever. And it's like, why? Wait a minute. Hold on. Who am I measuring myself against? Because it's not me.
Yeah.
And uh, if I were to be authentic, then I would be turning inward and not
Right.
externally.
Yeah.
And I would be in touch with my spirit and listen to my soul's call.
Mhm.
Right? And then that would mean I need to get into the present moment and not be out there in the future because the shoulds cause anxiety. I don't know about you, but it causes severe anxiety for me.
Yeah, because we're not actually living in harmony with, like, our true soul's desire of who we came here to be.
Right. Mm,
We're living some other reality, some other life.
right.
So there's no, like, ease or coherence,
Mm,
heart coherence,
yeah.
or we're not in tune with our soul's desires, that we established before we came here to
Yes.
Earth School.
It reminds me, I have written a children's book. It's called Wild Girl. And
Someday you'll all be able to read it.
because I'm working on it, they are going out into
Yes,
the world.
they are.
I'm going to make my book babies available. And one of the lines talks about this, it's mother to a daughter. And she had caught herself by saying, like, I've told you, like, to keep your voice down, but you should run and don't walk. Like, get out and do your thing and don't listen to what other people have to say and don't put yourself in the box and like just go own yourself and then therefore you own the world. You own your experience. And even knowing that as a parent, as a sovereign person for myself, I still find that I get the case of the shoulds or I stop myself and live smaller than I know I want to be or
Mm.
experience.
Mhm.
And it's programming and it's like all of those layers on my windows. And it's just
Yeah.
like fucking rip off the drapes already
Yeah.
and discover, does that make me happy? Like,
Right?
and what made me happy before may not make me happy anymore.
That's
I
right.
don't know. Do you get that? Do you ever
Yes.
have like, I don't know, is it like joy checks or audits? Like we should do joy audits.
Oh, that's a great practice. What's the name of the gal who does the "Does this bring me joy" when you're going
Oh,
through your
Marie
lows?
Kondo.
Yeah, Marie
Yes.
Kondo your life, right? Like, does this job bring me joy?
Yeah.
And I think talking about shoulds and programs, um, I think there are a lot of people out there working jobs
Mm,
that don't bring them joy. In fact, they probably suck the life out of you. And
yes.
so this is really a big time. And there are a lot of people who've been losing their jobs.
Yes.
So if we're talking about like shedding things that don't work for us, sometimes the universe does that for us. And it looks really shitty in the moment.
Yeah.
Like when you're worried about how you're going to pay your bills um, and you don't have a job or you've been looking for a long time. And I saw this story when there were a lot of people in a particular industry that were losing their jobs.
Right.
And this one couple happened to work in the same area
Okay.
of
Like industry.
industry,
Okay.
and they both lost their jobs,
Oh
and
crap.
it was difficult. Um, And so this gal had been like applying and applying and applying and getting no responses because there were a bunch of people in that same industry who had lost their jobs. And so you've got like
Every
minimal jobs that are saturated with more applicants.
okay.
And the point I'm getting to is maybe this is an opportunity to reconsider what it is you want to do next
Yeah.
and explore what does bring you joy. And sometimes it takes making risky moves
Mm-hmm.
to pursue something that you want to do versus what you think you can earn a living at or what you think you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
And there was actually a point in our my the life the life. My husband and I had made a decision for him. He had gotten laid off of one job because they were downsizing his department and moved
Okay.
it to a different state. Nobody got to move. Anyway.
Ah,
So he had been talking about starting his own coaching practice.
okay. Oh, so that's
And
okay.
so we talked about it and we're like, okay, are you going to look for another job or are you going to take this time to pursue being self-employed and grow
Mm,
your business?
mhm.
And he was at an age where it's like, well, if you're going to do it, you better do it
Better do it now?
now.
Okay.
And so we decided that.
Okay.
And he, I guess, still had some applications out there because uh, I don't know, a month into this decision, which was moving very slowly. And so
Okay.
there was a lot of like talking to my team about letting go of my money worries and
Your
having
spirit
some
team.
faith, my spirit team.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably some of my human team too. So anyway, so he gets a call from Salesforce to do an
No
interview.
kidding.
So he took the interview and then he got the second interview
Oh, wow.
and then he was going to get called out. Then he was getting invited to a third interview.
Mm.
And before that, we had this conversation like, so this is a phenomenon we've experienced where you say you want something and the universe goes, are you sure? And they put something in front of you that actually tests,
Yes.
are you
The
staying
the
on track?
entice yeah, the enticing
Yep.
option.
So he decided he wanted to stay on track with building his
Wow.
business.
Good for him.
Yeah. Well, so he called the lady and he was like, hey, I'm going to say thank you, but I'm going to complete the interview process because I'm going to pursue my own
Wow.
business. And she was like, I have never had this happen before. Because
You're
you can imagine, like, there's a
yeah,
lot of people
right.
who wants to
Everybody's
work for
for
Salesforce.
sure. For sure.
And I have to say, there were moments where I think both of us were like, what the F are we doing? But we have a lot of experience with those decisions in our past. So we
Dang.
were like,
You guys are so good at just jumping. You really are. You really are. I mean, you're like,
thank you.
fuck it, let's go sell a house and travel around the world and go spelunking in New Zealand in the dark because I have a phobia. So let's just face it head on and let's roll. Like, holy Calypso, talk about like ripping off the blinds.
Yeah, we
You do
do.
that. You really do that.
And,
So
before
good.
um, going back to the conversation about wanting to travel
Yeah.
with, my brother
Yes.
and all that, that was the moment that I started looking at the relationship I was in at the time,
Mm,
which was not going to be an adventure partner for me.
gotcha. Okay.
And so I rethought that and that came to a completion. And I was calling in somebody who was going to be like all the things I wanted and
Yeah.
an adventure partner was like my new qualifying
Wow.
thing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
my husband showed up and he had
Really.
just gotten back from Europe. And so I was like, so
That's it. That's what it
yeah,
looks like.
yeah. And we've been great adventure partners. So it's actually like being together and like locking elbows and like, okay, we're going to leap together has actually given me, and I think for him too, the courage to do some of these things that all of our family and friends are going like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And most of the time we're like, we don't really know, but we're doing this.
That's awesome. That is incredible. And it's inspiring because it's hard when you have people that you love that care for you
Yeah.
and how they show their care, at least with my family,
Yeah.
is like, are you sure you want
Hmm.
to do that? These are all the things could possibly happen. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
worried for you. And it's like, and so they're literally sending you worry
Yeah.
and you're having to metabolize that or shield yourself from that and stay clear.
Hmm.
Right? And if your signal's not strong and you're not really focused on what you want, you can get derailed. I got
Yeah.
derailed for years. And
Tell us about that.
well, I was not just confident enough to go out on my own.
Mm,
And it was safe to live at my parents' house
mm.
and work for my mom. And also believed in what we were doing. She was running a daycare and it was phenomenal. They called her the fairy good mother.
Oh, I
And,
love that name.
and she's amazing.
Aw.
And she had a wait list of kids. So I'm talking like it was prime time. And as a highly intuitive person, being able to be with children and seeing them in their essence and allowing them to be themselves and to explore that, and keep that alive for kids was something that was very special, even though I didn't necessarily know exactly that's what we're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
Because you think you're providing a service, but then it has this extra element. Um, but I was dating a guy that was in the industry in LA, and I wanted to move down there and went to school for journalism, wanted to be a reporter and interview people and go all the way around the world. Um, and every turn of like, all right, I'm going to go move. It was just like, oh, no, you're not. Like that's my umbilical cord doesn't stretch that far. And
Mm,
in reality, if I really, really wanted to do it, I think she saw that I just wasn't preparing myself and I was talking.
mm.
And yet I was allowing my fear to really not do what my doing wasn't matching the saying.
Yeah. This is your mom that saw that
Yeah.
happening? Okay.
Uh-huh. And she's like, yeah, yeah. Okay. You stay here. So you clean all that up.
Right.
Because last thing I want you to do is move to LA, not be clear, and then have it be
Yeah.
shenanigans, right?
Right.
So it was legitimate. And at the same time, um, I had this yearning and I didn't know how to clarify
Mm.
what I wanted. I
Mhm.
didn't know how to seek the joy because I was still very much layered with wanting to make people happy.
Yeah.
Um, and feeling like I should show up in a certain way. And then I'm also counted on, right, as part of a
Right.
business. So then what happens if I leave? So there's just lots of layers and it's totally my accountability, right? It's got nothing really to do with my mom. It was me growing up and realizing, okay, this is what I want to do. So eventually when I did get clear, then I moved to San Francisco, was on my own, started working at KGO at the news station, Channel 7 in San Francisco. And it was amazing to be able to not check the box, but be living something that you've been thinking about forever,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
actually attaining that experience that you were dreaming about. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Congratulations on doing that.
Thank you. You too, my dear. You've got a list.
Hey, it's all, it's all just part of the journey. And you pointed to a couple of things. One was, maybe it'll circle back later.
It will.
It's
It always does.
missing. But um, anyway, so preparing ourselves
Yeah.
to do something that's intimidating or scary or we don't feel prepared for. But that can also be a block,
Yes.
like over preparing.
Yes.
And I've fallen into that trap where
Me too.
um we're like just procrastinating or we don't have the confidence. And so instead of what was the saying earlier, we was like,
Instead of do it scared, like fuck doing it scared, do it curious.
yes. And
Yeah.
so instead of, waiting to have the courage to do something, we can shift and just get curious
Yep.
and let that be a fuel if courage and fear are kind of ruling the day.
Yes. 100%. Absolutely. I think I told you about my friend Muriel, and she is this beautiful, direct, like telling it like it is, friend, and everybody needs a Muriel in
Yeah.
your life. And she's like, you've got all these great ideas, and you work on them, but you don't ship it. meaning you don't set it free out into the world
Yeah.
and you're perfecting it and you're massaging it and then you leave it and then you start something else. And, it's like you get that scattered energy and yet at the same time you're hoarding like all of these beautiful idea babies or things of service, acts of service
Yeah.
that I should have launched into the world, not should, that I had the opportunity to launch into the world and didn't.
Yeah.
And it had a lot to do with wanting it to be perfect or being scared because I didn't know how to do something.
Right.
And instead of risking failing,
Mhm.
and instead of using failure as simply a data point
Right.
to be able to shift, I was like, fuck that. I'm just gonna stay over here and research like for 5 more years versus I could have gone and like done the thing, flopped on my face, got up and just kept asking questions. And then you refine, refine, refine.
Yeah.
Do you have that tendency?
Oh my god. I can't tell you how many ideas died on the vine. Um,
Yeah. And we talked about that in the ideas episode.
yeah.
But how have you been able to peel back programming? Because you were talking about that of your
Mhm.
mom not actually seeing you in the way that you thought that you were, the essence of you.
Yeah.
So what did you do to say, fuck it, I'm doing this new thing? You called in your husband because you had to
Yeah.
edit, right? You had to do,
Yeah, well, before that, it was really me, like, realizing I wasn't even being honest with myself about what I wanted from my life because I was on the track of doing the should be life. And so until you recognize that you're living a life based on some external, factor
yeah,
or
yeah,
prescription,
yes,
then it's a little bit difficult to tune into what you really want and create that. Because you're not looking for that or tuning into that or attracting any of that. You're making decisions based on whatever the checklist of the external
yeah,
criteria is.
right,
So that was really my wake up call of like, who am I really?
yeah,
And do I want to keep living based on some external perception of how life is supposed to go?
okay,
And it was definitely years of unfolding.
yeah,
And there were layers, like, we build up courage to do riskier or more adventurous things by
mhm,
taking risks on the smaller things.
yes,
And
great point.
so, yeah, so it was just really starting to tune in. That was about the same time when I shared in a past episode where I was listening to a particular talk show host, and I was like, what am I actually listening to? And so I really think that was kind of the beginning of my waking up.
Yeah,
And so practical mystics, we're talking to people who are just now waking up, who've been waking up into their spiritual awareness for a while and still going like, what the hell is this all about? And
yeah,
by the way, that really never goes away. Um, so it's about noticing, it's about being more conscious
yes.
and being honest with ourselves
Mm,
first.
that can be hard.
It definitely is hard because that's where we start facing a lot of the things that we started talking about at the beginning of the episode of shedding away. So
Yes.
shedding away belief systems, shedding away behaviors, um, ways of being. I mean, there's so many things.
Yes. I mean, yeah, where you are, your environment, people that are in your environment and that you share your space with, your schedule, like whether you wake up at 11 or you wake up at 6 in the morning,
Yeah.
when you're going to bed and all of the things,
Yeah.
like what are we doing and how are we showing up or presenting ourselves? And I know you and I were talking earlier today about, um, like the death. Like, I have to kill off the old Kimberly in order to um, birth this new version of myself.
Yeah.
And it's killing off the layer that was never
Right.
really me.
Right.
but my personality thinks, "No," "We're
Yeah.
all gonna die," and it's just like, that was never me to begin with,
Yeah.
really, so what am I letting go of? I'm letting go of
Right.
something that may have worked for me in the moment.
Yeah.
It no longer works for me, and it's causing suffering,
Yeah.
or uncomfortability, or annoyance, or my lack of being able to resonate with joy,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to tell everybody out there that it's like, it's all about following your bliss. Don't pay your bills and don't worry about feeding your children. Like, that is
No.
not what we're proposing at all. It's
Yeah, still take
there's
care of the shit you're responsible for, because that has downward spirals of frequency impact as well.
yes,
So,
yes, but it is about being honest with myself, and I have to be present in order to be able to be honest.
yeah,
And being present also means I have to accept where I'm at.
yeah,
And then after that, then I've got to be accountable for
mhm,
where I'm at.
yep,
And only then do I realize that I have a choice and that life isn't happening to me, that it's happening for me. And if you told that to the version of me that didn't have a job and then I had a credit card bill coming in, I'd be
yeah,
like, fuck off. Like, get out of here with that
yeah,
business. Like, oh, sure, you can say that because, the version of you is sitting in this cushy chair and you've got all this awesomeness around you. But it's, um, I didn't realize I had a choice then as much as I have choices or realize that I have the power of choice now,
yeah,
and I think that I was still really under the programming of what I thought life should be, and I didn't know how to get there in the version of who I was.
right.
Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, and in order to reconcile that, we do have to go through the uncomfortable process of acknowledging what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes in doing that, we can get stuck in the past
Mhm.
and start wallowing around in all of the decisions we made that didn't turn out. I've been through that. There's
Mhm.
no cheese at the end of that tunnel. So just,
Yeah.
accepting, the decisions, like taking risks in life, it doesn't always turn out like you think it's going to. Sometimes it turns out better. And sometimes there are lessons where you're like, oh, I didn't really think about that piece of it. Now I've got to do some correcting to adjust for that
Yeah.
oversight.
Yep.
And, but I think when we start relating to life from more of instead of a checklist and hitting all the marks
Mhm.
and that type of approach, if we can shift to more of like what my husband and I call it is an adventure band in the way we think about it.
Mm.
Um, so like we try to look through life through the lens of it's an adventure, and
Okay.
most of the time we don't really know what's coming.
Okay.
We can have goals and work toward those,
Okay.
and sometimes they work out pretty easy.
Mhm.
And other times we're like, oh, wow, look at this obstacle that we've encountered. And
Yeah.
got to go through this.
Okay.
But it's like when you take off on any kind of adventure, you've got a plan, you got a map,
Sure.
you've got the best plan you can make. And then still you're going to encounter things on that adventure that you couldn't have expected, which is the
Totally.
pure point of an adventure.
That's totally true. You can plan, but you can never be fully prepared, nor should you want to. Like you're saying, that's the whole essence of why you're going out. I'm planning to go over there, but it's like if you calibrate or try to curate your way there, then what's the point? You could stay home.
Yeah, that's true. And this is also what I've discovered on how life slash the universe works is that sometimes we don't know what the next step is until we take the first step. So you got to you have to have the courage. And sometimes it's like a leap of faith.
Yes.
Take the first step, take the first leap. And then when you do that, then you're given the next step or the next leap or direction.
Set of instructions. Yep. Uh-huh.
Because what's the point of giving you the second or third step if you're not even willing to do the first one?
Mm,
So that's been my experience.
yes. So that's fascinating. So you're talking about literally an exchange, right? Of like there's momentum, trust,
Hmm.
and the willingness to participate in this creation
Right.
moment, right? And so then when you take that step, then it's like, okay, great. The reward is here's your next instruction.
Yes, exactly. Kind of like what is that, scavenger hunt or something like that. Maybe, no,
Oh,
maybe it's not a scavenger hunt,
like a
but
treasure hunt.
treasure hunt.
Treasure
Yeah.
hunt. Yeah.
Where
Mhm.
you go to the first spot and then you get the next clue. And it's kind of like that.
Totally. I love that. Absolutely. Life is a treasure hunt. Shannon Havel.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, but we're all going on this grand adventure. And it's funny because I know we were talking earlier about li- um, jobs that don't always bring you joy.
Yeah.
And my husband would say, well, I've got to feed the family. So it's not like I'm going to like literally quit my job and go color and try to sell all my coloring pages because that's what brings me joy.
Right.
That's not what he would do. But, if anybody knew my husband, you would laugh like her.
And I only know him a little bit, and I know that's not true.
Probably like the last thing on the list that he would try. Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
I digress.
That's funny.
But one of the things that my son had said is because he's an amazing cook, like the best. I've gone to some amazing places for steak. My son can still kick their butt. He makes the best steak in the
Nice.
universe. Okay. So as we were like salivating as because you could smell it and your just mouth is watering and you're just waiting there with like the fork and the knife, like just waiting for it to come because it's like, what's coming. It's so good. We had said, why don't you want to be a chef? Like,
Mm.
have you thought about pivoting and not going to school for business and like listen to us? And we're like, it's like every parent's dream. Business, fantastic. We're like,
Yeah.
what about being a chef? It's like one of the highest like bomb rates of like anything.
But that's cool as parents you were thinking of as joy
Yeah,
and not as the should be life.
right, right.
So I think I'm giving you parent points for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, he had said, and so smart, he says, this brings me joy for me. And I like cooking for people that I love and doing it when I want to do it. But to do this as a job would take it from my joy bucket
Yep.
into my obligation bucket. And I don't want to ruin it. Like, I want to go out and do a job and then leave that job and come home and then do my joy. Like for
Yeah.
me, I know myself enough that I want to have it separate.
I'm really glad you pointed to that because that was something that was swirling in the back of my head that I wasn't able to call back, and you
Yes.
called it back, which is, and I had the same experience around arranging flower. I love to buy flowers
Really?
and just kind of take them, even if they come already arranged in a pretty way,
Hmm.
I'll
Do it your way. Yeah. Like,
do it a little
yeah.
different or add some other things or whatever. And that same thing, somebody was like, "Oh, you should be a,
Florist or,
florist." And I was
mhm.
just like, but then you have the pressure of other people's timelines
Yes.
and you have people judging the work. Like, do you like the flower arrangement? Do you not like the flower arrangement? And that is a joy killer.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah.
anyway.
Absolutely.
Um, but the point that your son made is really good because I think sometimes we get hooked into the idea that we have to take our joy and make it an income earner
Yes.
instead of doing what your son did and say like, "Hey, I'm going to go earn money some other way." And hopefully it also brings him joy.
Satisfaction.
Yeah. Satisfaction.
Yeah.
I want you to talk more about satisfaction and
Okay.
keep your joy thing, the joy thing.
Yeah.
and maybe some point down the road it'll become something else, but until that point,
Yeah.
just let it be your joy thing.
Yeah. Well, I think we put a lot of pressure on like, oh, and my purpose has to be everything. It has
Yeah.
to run my life. And there's just so much pressure. And your purpose could be delivering a smile. Your delivery or your purpose could be holding space and being in a neutral state, like we talked about
Mhm.
earlier, and being a place of safety.
Yeah.
And you could be working at a nursery or at Target or a lawyer or a teacher or whatever. It doesn't matter. That can be where you show up and do your best and be in a state of satisfaction. And satisfaction means that you are steady and that you have a sense of pleasure in showing up as your best self
Mm.
and in a state of awareness, appreciation, and presence.
Yeah.
Right? You feel satisfied by your, beingness, right? And that's pleasing, but that's not chasing happiness
Yeah.
or feeling like you have to be at this high level because it's unsustainable,
Yeah, and it's
right?
not realistic.
Not at
That I
all.
mean, that's not how humans are designed.
Not at all. I
If you're at a high state of happiness all the time,
yes.
there's probably some things to look at.
I'd be in a state of psychosis.
Well, I'm kind of pointing to that without saying it, but you said it, so there we
Yeah,
go.
totally. Like, no, you don't want to see me on a happy high for like 2 months. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And we talked in the past about, like, satisfaction. We were talking about the wave
Mhm.
of emotions and frequency and how, like, you know, all the highs and all the lows, it's a turbulent ride.
Yeah.
And so if we can, ride the middle ground of satisfaction, then we do have some blips of happiness that we can, soak in. And
Mhm.
we've got some dips down into other emotions that we don't want to soak in for too long,
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
But then kind of just ride that easy wave of satisfaction.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
I think that's an important conversation to have with more people because I think there's some, and I'm going to just call it a neurotic expectation
Mm.
that you're supposed to be happy all the time.
Mm.
And and because that's not actually realistic to achieve,
Yeah.
then we're chasing some fantasy,
Mm. Yes.
and not a fantasy of like some great thing you want to create, or it's just like it's not really even attainable.
Nor you if you really thought about it, would you want to attain it and be happy all the time? Because the whole reason why we have the freedom of choice, right? And we have sovereignty is to better understand what we like and what we don't like, right? What we don't like is here for us to get very clear about what we want to attract or where we want to spend our time. And we realize I like the purple cup more than I like the black cup or the blue cup or whatever. But I'm not going to take my focus. Once I identify that I like the purple cup more, I'm not going to go, but I don't like blue. And I really don't like dark blue. I see blue, 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 blue. Blue sucks. I really like purple
But you're focused on not liking blue, and because that's where your focus is, that's what you're seeing,
all day.
because
And
we will see the thing that we're
that
focused on.
right. And that's what I'm practicing. So I'm practicing on telling my brain what I don't like, and I'm calling it out over and over and over again. I don't know if you guys do this. I got real good.
Yep.
I became a pro, and that actually is another layer that we're putting on, like the film on our window. And instead of being able to go, oh, there's clarity, thank you, and pivot and practice finding all the purple,
Mhm.
right? And being satisfied with knowing that data point, and then now pouring into, I like purple. And then where can I be curious to point out the purple that already exists
Right.
in my experience right now?
Yeah. Because there's probably a lot of it and you're not seeing the purple because you're focused on not liking the blue. And actually, that reminds me of my first quantum healing course that I did
Yes.
um, back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And uh, my teacher was talking to us about language. And we've talked about this how
Mm.
words are spells and
Mm-hmm.
they're powerful creation tools. She was saying that the universe doesn't hear don't.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know, it's
Yes.
got a mute on don't. And so if you say, I don't want something, then what the universe hears is the thing that you don't want.
Yeah. It's literally we
And so you're attracting what you don't want because you just said something that you don't want, but the universe doesn't hear don't. And I guess the whole point of the lesson was stop focusing on what you don't
let's
want and
focus.
declaring it and focus on what you do want and declare that.
Yeah.
Because that is what the universe hears. That's the frequency. Plus, we're putting out something like what we desire
Right.
versus what we don't desire.
Yes. It's the law of mirroring, right? And if I say, I don't want a blue cup, and but what you're putting out is blue cup, blue cup, blue cup, blue cup. So it's not it's like the words have vibration, but it's like the focus is on the blue cup. It's not on the don't. It's just focus on blue cup is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is a
100%.
mind bender.
Because we've been taught to go, I don't like that. What do you hear? Like, oh, his first word was no. Because what do you hear your parents saying?
No, no.
No, no, don't do that. They don't go, fantastic, that's awesome. Or if you hear fantastic, that's awesome all the time and you don't hear no, then you don't know which is which. So it's like, all it is it's just a clarifier. Once you get your data point and you have clarity, fantastic. Thank you for the clarity. Keep going,
Yeah.
keep going, keep experiencing. So, like you were talking about being seen in a way that you didn't see yourself from your mom. And I bet you thought, I don't like that. Or that's not true. Or what did you feel?
I, f- I felt like, oh, I haven't been sharing my authentic self so that
Mm.
my mom didn't know that about me. It wasn't a failure on her part to not know that about me. It
Yeah.
was I wasn't in touch with that part of myself.
Mm.
And so I wasn't expressing that verbally or in my actions or in any way.
Right.
And so, of course, she didn't know that about me because I didn't know that about me until
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
And so it was really like a wake up call of starting to pay attention. And I think that is kind of the underlying message of all the stuff we've been talking about, which
Right.
is being conscious of what we're saying, being conscious of what we're thinking, and um and then noticing like, is that true for me?
Yeah.
Is that something that I think because that's what I was raised with?
Mm-hmm.
And start discerning what it is that you truly want and what brings you joy.
Awesome. I love that. And I think there's an invitation for you guys, for all of us, to take a moment and ask ourselves what brings us joy. When was the last time we experienced it just randomly? And I would also invite you to ask yourself, when was the last time you have purposefully gone out to cultivate it,
Yeah.
for yourself or for somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
And practical mystics is about the spiritual magic within the everyday. And our spiritual journey isn't about donning on robes and going and finding a mountaintop, right, and chanting. For some people, that may absolutely be the experience they want to have here.
Mhm.
But most of us have chosen to have an experience in life that is interconnected with other people that have other plans and ideas, which is fantastic. But sometimes it's hard to get clear.
Mhm.
But I think the hard part is just practicing showing up for yourself and
Yeah.
being willing to see things that may make us uncomfortable and and then going out once we find out what we think we may like and testing it.
Yeah.
Is that true? Does the purple cup make me happy?
Right. Or, like, in your mind, sometimes I think we can have something made up that we think is gonna be super fabulous, that we're gonna love, and then we go do it, and we're like, it was an adventure, but I'm not sure if that brings me joy. I'm glad I did it,
Mhm.
but now, again, like you said, more data, and we get to reconcile with, um, taking it out of our mind as a made up idea and going and taking the action so that we do have some experience on if I want to continue doing that thing or if that was
Yeah.
just a one off and I'm glad I did it and now I'm going to move on to the next thing. Um, because, we were talking about procrastinating on things earlier and like we can lose a lot of time in life pondering things in our mind and making up what we think they're going to be.
Yes.
But if we never take the action, we don't actually get to test it in life and
Mm,
and experiencing the thing to
totally.
determine, like, was that just all fantastical in my head?
Yep.
Or is this really something like in my experience of living that I really love?
Yeah, and we are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in a physical body, right?
Yeah,
And so we have this opportunity to take creation and experience it on a physical level.
right.
And not every entities or whatever, we won't get into that, but not everybody has the opportunity to do that, but you do. We do. So the things that we're thinking of and that we desire, you're casting out these calls of desire, these calls to action for yourself. And what better time than now? Because there will be a point when we're non-physical and it's not going to feel the same way. You'll be able to delight in the thought and the vibration of that, but the physical experience and being able to have that physical feedback is so unique and so cool.
So human.
It's so human.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that we talked about earlier that just popped back in my mind is taking on things to make changes in our life. So
Okay.
let me explain that a little bit more. I'll just give you an example from my life.
Okay.
I had a fear of heights.
Okay.
I mean, I could get on to the top of a ladder, but when my husband and I did some travel in Europe early in our relationship, I got to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower. So you
Okay.
ride up, and we were standing on the platform, the viewer platform, which
Okay.
is super friggin' high up there.
Okay.
And even though it would take a very conscious effort to get outside of the protective guards that keep
Okay.
people from falling off of that viewing platform and knowing like it's not likely, like the
Sure.
chances of me falling off this are in like the very, very, very low percentage.
Okay.
Did not matter because my system was freaking out. Yep.
Really?
Like my root chakra was going nuts. I was like, this is beautiful. And so the outside of me, like, is
Okay.
going, wow, this is so amazing. But the inside was having a panic attack.
Wow. Okay.
And so it was stuff
Were
like
you
that.
holding on to, like, the I don't know, are there handles? Can you tell me, like, what was happening physically? Where were you? Were you, like, up against a wall? Or
No,
were you like
I don't remember exactly because this was a long time ago,
Okay.
but you're like you're like fenced in.
Okay.
There's like
Okay.
metal
Okay. So
structures.
it's not like you just have like a bar and then you can
Mhm.
look over. Nice try.
But there was a
No
point
shenanigans. Okay.
where I started getting more courageous. And so my adventure Shannon wanted to come out more
Okay.
and kind of like kill the scaredy cat Shannon.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
figuratively.
Sure.
And so there was a time where I signed up my husband and I to go skydiving for his birthday.
So hold on. You went up to the Eiffel Tower. You had this revelation of like, holy shit, this is high. And I am terrified. I need to get down right now. So then as you got out of that experience, then Adventurous Shannon was like, fuck this shit. We're doing something new.
Well, Adventure Shannon was on board because I was in Europe traveling.
Okay.
But, it's just like, just because you do one thing doesn't mean you've dealt with all of the hangups and fears and all the
Gotcha.
things. So
Gotcha.
it's a layered
Yeah.
process. And so as we peel off layers, we get to discover,
Okay.
oh, there's a new layer that I wasn't aware of. So it was a number of years, but it was
Okay.
over time that I was like, I'm tired of being scaredy cat Shannon. And I just chose fear of heights as a thing to take on.
Wow.
And part of this was there was a point of doing some self-development work where I learned, like, if you imagine yourself and there's a circle around you, and that's your limit of what you're willing to do
Okay.
or experience. It's your boundary,
Sure.
okay? And if you do something in any area of life, you've just moved your boundary
Mm.
in this one area, but what happens is you've got a new circle that expands your abilities to take risks in this case
Nice.
in other areas of life.
Okay.
And so the idea is choose one area of life to do something that challenges you or maybe is scary for you. Um, don't do it scared, just get curious. Um, and so I did the skydiving, and
Awesome.
it was an incredible experience, and I was scared, but I did it anyway. And what I found was I loved skydiving. I haven't done it again since. I loved the free falling piece of
Wow.
it. It's
Okay.
like the closest thing to flying that
Yeah,
I've ever experienced.
that's what I've heard.
And I've done this throughout my life in different ways. Once I started doing self-development work is like just taking on things to stretch myself.
Yep,
And I don't know, it's part of my programming. But it served me well
yeah,
because I'm a totally different person now than I was
before
when my
that.
husband and I met.
Wow.
And a lot of my growth and change and ability to take bigger risks has been out of taking the smaller risks.
Mhm,
And then, you level up to maybe a
mhm.
little bit of a scarier risk.
Yep,
Um, and so And then when you get directions from your higher self or your spirit team to do something super crazy, like sell your house so you can go travel. And you're like, what?
yeah.
But that was the second level of breaking out of the should be life because
Yeah.
we got the stock, we got the money, we bought the house and the cars and all the things and we fixed it up and now we're settled and we're like, so we get to keep working our ass off for the next however many decades to support this.
So you're owned by your stuff.
We are owned by our stuff.
Yeah,
And so that you pointed to this earlier, so I thought I'd bring it up again to explain
mhm,
a little bit. But
yeah,
so we traveled so that's when I had living in this house, I had like really leaped into my spiritual journey
okay,
and learned quantum healing and learned all the things we've been talking about.
yep,
And and I had this desire within me to go to Egypt, and I had no explanation for it. I think I might have talked about this
Yeah.
before. Um, so we went to Egypt, came back, and we're like, "What do you think of selling the house and traveling?" And so we did it, and my mom cried, and everyone
Oh,
thought we were
yeah. Like,
crazy,
yeah.
which we were.
Yeah.
And
But you weren't choosing the should be life.
we
You were,
weren't choosing the should be life.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's been a
absolutely.
big faith walk since then.
Yeah.
And we continue to take the challenges that are presented to us.
I love that.
And it doesn't come without, it- it's a catalyst for dealing with the deeper shit that comes up.
Tell me more about that.
So, when you sell your home and you take your money and you spend it, then you don't have a savings account,
Mhm.
which brings up other things to deal with, like the faith walk of always having what you need, even if your financial situation doesn't look like the should be life says. I'm
Mhm.
not suggesting anyone sell their belongings
And become an official vagabond.
and do that. But I did see that there's a movie coming out or is out about this guy who did exactly that. He like sold all his shit
Really?
and went on this like soul journey.
Wow.
And it was about what he learned about that.
Oh, that sounds amazing. There's a book, it's called Vagabonding by Rolf Potts.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that.
Yes,
I think that's
and it's I learned about it through Tim Ferriss, and so Tim Ferriss, um, had also he was inspired by that book, and I don't know if he sold everything, but I know that he started doing a lot of traveling all around the world
yeah,
and kind of doing that. These are my words, not his, but like, "Fuck it, why not?" Like, "Let me try this," and he ended up becoming like a ballroom dancer and ballroom competitions and I don't know, like a fighter, martial arts fighter and, like, winning some competition and, um, just going out there and experiencing life, and I think when we stop becoming overrun by our stuff,
yeah,
we have space to connect with people
yeah,
because we're not so busy trying to amass and then deal with where we're going to where we're going to put it, how we're going to
yeah,
keep it and I'll hoard it and all these things. And then you have space. It's like going into a Japanese tea room and you've got a floor, a rug, beautiful windows, a table, and then two teacups and a teapot.
yeah.
And it's like there's no pictures on the wall, there's no chairs, there's nothing else. It's
Mm,
just you have the tea, yourself, your companion, if there's somebody there, and the negative space.
mm,
And so that negative space is a thing. It's like that's the ether that is full of creative energy and full of space to hold the awareness, right?
yeah,
And it's the pure container.
mm,
And it's like if we fill our container with a whole bunch of shit, then the stuff that the essence that we want to feel is like so muted.
yeah,
And as we walk down our spiritual path, we have the opportunity to have dirty glasses on, right? Or we can take the time to like edit, clean our glasses off, and really dial it back.
mm,
So I think throughout our conversation we've been inviting people to really take an assessment. Are all the things that we feel so obligated to do really necessary?
yeah,
Who's asking?
yeah,
Who's asking us to show up this way? And if you had to edit something and take it out of your life, what would that be?
yeah. I
You
love that
know?
word edit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you can always bring it back if
you
you think
can.
that's not the right call.
Yeah, you can. And that's the other part of living like more of an adventurous kind of approach to life, where you're taking the prompts that you're getting to do things that are outside the box of quote normal And sometimes after that, you have to come back and lick your wounds and be like, wow, that was fun. That had a lot of greatness to it. And there's some things that I missed that
Mm.
maybe I would have done different. Or like we did have to go back to work at some point
Yeah,
in the jobs that, but then we got to experience what that was about.
sure.
And every part, um, my husband likes to relate to life in like version 2.0,
Yeah,
version
yeah.
5.0, um, which is a fun way to look at it
Yeah.
in little spurts of
Mhm.
life. And sometimes we have to kind of like get back into our center and regroup and figure out like, okay, where next?
Mhm.
Like if you do go on some grand adventure where you're backpacking or climbing Everest or whatever the thing
Mhm.
is, when that adventure's over, you got to like go clean up your gear and put it away and be like, that was amazing and now what's
Now
next?
what? Yeah.
And sometimes it's a mundane thing.
Mm.
And sometimes we need the mundane things for our nervous system to calibrate
Yeah.
and have some space and learn the lessons and pay attention to like what came up during all of that.
Yeah.
I've got some fears I worked through. I've got some beliefs that I got to notice,
Yep.
some ways of being that I got to see don't work in certain situations. And
Yes.
so we get to edit all that
Mhm.
out, bring in the things that we did learn,
Yes.
and then go again.
Version 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you get to see who you attract, the people that come into your lives. I love to be able to assess my level of trust
Mm,
because sometimes I get scared about, like, say, publishing the book.
yeah.
And I'm like, gosh, how am I going to do this? And even though I used to work for a publisher, but I was
Hmm.
very young, the world was very different.
Yeah.
And now you have all this technology and you can do it within 24 hours, 48 hours, you know?
Wow.
Uh, but I was like, all right, I talked to my spirit squad and I was like, help me find the path that's right for me,
Yeah.
that I can do this with ease and joy and not struggle.
Hmm.
Like I'm so over the I have to do it the hard way.
Right.
So over. And then it's like the writing group resurfaced. I had a couple, friends in that writing group that are like, look, let me go ahead and break it down and give you all the details. This is how these are the options for you. And I had no idea, like the ease and the way that they lay out the steps. I'm like, could it be that affordable? Could it be that easy? I mean, not that it would be,
Right.
I would say simplified, maybe not easy. There's still a lot of learning curves and things I got to do,
Yeah.
but the mountain didn't seem so tall,
Yeah.
and then it brought the excitement back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, the joy. So,
Because there's something I think that we get out of the challenge. I'm not going to call it the difficulty because sometimes it's just a challenge
mhm,
because we haven't done something before. And I'm glad you brought up easy because I just heard someone talking about instead of wanting it to be easier,
mhm,
ask to be, oh, how did they phrase it? To be like, better is not the right word. Gosh,
like
I
more
wish
resilient.
just, yeah. And
Yeah.
so instead of like to develop ourselves, oh, this is what it was. Instead
Okay.
of asking for it to be easy, get better at doing hard things.
I
That's what
love
it
that.
was.
I believe in that as well.
I'm so glad I remembered that
Yeah.
because that's way more powerful than whatever other thing I was thinking of. So, yeah, instead of asking for it to be easier, get better at doing hard things.
Mhm.
And that really landed for me.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I think both are true because I know that there seems to be like a wave of consciousness where it's like everything should be easy and everybody outside has to adapt to
Mm,
the way that I think it should be, or else I'm not showing up.
mhm,
Or I'm And then I think there's a generational thing where it's like, it's supposed to be hard, suck it up, buttercup, and it's like, you gotta like slog through everything.
mhm.
And it's like, I don't believe that. I mean, it's a choice. I can go up and I can order everything to be a shit show, and I can be calibrated in my nervous system to be ready for the shit show, or I can calibrate to um, having resiliency and also having it have pockets of joy and ease
Yeah,
as well. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
There's a harmony in that. So yeah, I think both can be true at the same time for sure.
yeah. And, we've been talking about, like, maybe the extremes, of,
For sure. Yes.
selling your house and going on adventure. That's extreme. I lived it, and I'm just acknowledging that's extreme. And so, if you're called to do something like that, I say follow your guidance, but take on smaller things, more. Like, you don't have to quit your job to go on an adventure. Like, take a vacation, and you don't even have to fly anywhere.
Mm-mm.
Like, choose something that is in driving distance or a bus ride from you that you haven't done before.
Yeah.
That's maybe a little out of your comfort zone or something you've been wanting to see. There's this phenomena, and I don't understand it, but people travel far away to go see things, and they don't visit the things that
That are
other
close
people
by.
travel from far away to come see that are near them. So an
Mm.
example is we went to visit some friends in England, and we took a train to go to I guess all my words didn't come today.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Circle of Rocks. And is the name of
The
the place.
circle of rocks.
I swear. Welcome to the inside of my head.
That's awesome. I love it.
So we took a train ride to go see Stonehenge,
Okay.
and we were asking our friends, like, hey, have you been to see Stonehenge?
Yeah.
It was less than an hour train ride from their
Stop
house.
it. They never saw
They
Stonehenge.
have never been to Stonehenge.
Wow.
They came to the US to visit us and wanted to hike Half Dome in Yosemite, which was a couple hours from where we lived, but it's totally reasonable. And we've never hiked Half Dome. And so we were like, all right,
Mm.
let's go hike Half Dome with
Yeah.
them. And so the whole point of that is,
Wow.
like, maybe there's really cool things that are in a reasonable distance for you to travel to, whether it's by car or bus or whatever. And you could go explore that thing. And it doesn't have to take a whole vacation, use up all your vacation. It doesn't have to take a whole lot of money. And this is where we can start getting creative with expanding ourselves with things that are maybe a challenge,
Yes.
um, and do it within your means.
Yep. 100%. Well, and
I've got to take this thing off
okay.
because I keep adjusting it.
Okay. Um, well, you, I used to live in
Sorry.
San Francisco. It's okay. And I lived on the corner of 25th and Geary.
Mm.
And it was a spot where you could literally like walk in one direction and in a few blocks be in a whole different world.
Wow.
And you'd be like in like little Koreatown or different shops with completely different foods and spices or bookstores or who knows, you had no idea what you would run into. We went in and you like from the outside it didn't look like an aquarium, but from the inside it had like all these exotic animals that I'm not sure were legal to be in the Americas, but it was just like, holy crap, is that a barracuda? I mean, it was just like
Wow.
mind bending. And we have all of these menageries, these pockets of worlds that are in our own town that
Mm.
we probably don't even know about. And it's like, be curious, get out there and go to a different restaurant, go to a different bookstore, walk on a different street, see how many people you can say hi to.
Yeah.
and really just expand your uh, space, expand your, like, be open to being a tourist in your own backyard, like you're saying.
Yeah. And try new things. I was just talking to my cousin's partner, and he lost his job as an editor, just,
Oh,
downsizing. And he's been exploring horticulture and everything from like
wow.
cataloging plants to getting out and getting your hands dirty and learning how to prune things and take care of parks. And so he's been on this whole
Huh.
adventure, and he lives in San Francisco. And so he's getting to explore like a whole bunch of natural areas that he didn't necessarily know about. Um, and he's really excited about it. And so guess it's like try new things, do something you haven't done before. If there's a museum near you, maybe go to the museum and see what it's all about,
Mm-hmm.
because we, and this is where following our guidance comes in, because we really never know where our next inspiration or connection to someone or idea, whatever the thing is,
Yeah,
could come from anywhere. And
absolutely.
so when we follow our guidance and we go do something that's outside of our normal routine of life or the thing that we normally do, and I
Hmm.
know as humans we can get in these ruts of like, I love the same things because that's keeps our nervous system happy.
Sure.
Um, but if you're looking to mix it up in life, you kind of got to mix it up in life. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Take the chance and follow the breadcrumbs. I absolutely 100% agree with it. And you could have the most beautiful blessings in what you think is a moment of, like, I don't want to say despair, but being frustrated or like losing a job. Our goats.
mhm,
I think I told you, I don't know if I shared with our friends out there, they are missing, right?
yeah,
And one of the things that came about was as I was looking for these goats, I had started to deepen relationships with my neighbors.
I think we did talk about
Yeah.
that in the last
Right?
episode. Yeah.
So it's like if I didn't follow, like, okay, I could have tried to deal with it myself with my friend
Mhm.
and I and kept it like in the silo and then been like, oh, well, but being able to reach out to others, help me realize the community and I also got to know the land more
Mhm.
and the space and be able to kind of have a different adventure
Yeah.
and that I would have pinched myself off of otherwise,
Yeah.
right? And gotten a deep appreciation for people and why we have a place there,
Mhm.
and being open to dealing with stuff a different way.
Yeah. I think that's great. It's something that just popped into my mind was like if you're somebody who normally likes to be like a hermit,
Yeah.
and I enjoy my hermit time,
Me too.
um then maybe go out and explore what kind of community is near you that you could connect with. Might
Hmm.
be going to the library or taking an art class or something that's of interest to you so you can meet people who have similar interests.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, if you're somebody who can't be by yourself and you always have to be around other people or have some sort of external
Stimulation.
stimulation going
Hmm.
on, then take on the challenge of being by yourself. It is not as easy as it sounds. I went through that. My friends had gone to college. My roommate moved out. Steve went back to Europe after we had, started dating.
Mm,
And I was literally, I mean, I had people around me. I still have family
sure,
and
sure,
friends,
sure.
but the immediate people that I was like rooming with or seeing on a regular basis had
Okay.
all done other things. And I had to learn to be by myself. And it was like one of the most challenging things, but it was also the greatest thing I have ever done because now I really enjoy being by myself.
That's beautiful.
And what I got out of that was being able to hear my own thoughts, my own higher self,
Mm.
my team.
Mhm.
Um, and if you can't, if you don't have clarity to hear your own thoughts and tune into what you're really feeling because you're so bombarded with external stimulation, then it's really hard to hear your guidance.
Mhm.
It's challenging to discern what's you or what's other people's
100%.
expectations or life's
Absolutely.
expectations. And so the quiet of being by yourself is super confronting, but that's how you also get to know yourself.
Yeah. Well, and then you also realize that you're not alone in the way that you think that you're alone.
That's right.
So you realize that there's so much more on an energetic level that is encompassing us,
Yeah.
and that being alone is an illusion. And you're able to tap into, all of that, yeah, extra goodness, the all there isness. So
Yeah.
that's such a
But
beautiful
that's
point.
internal.
Yes, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. And we don't get there if we're on the couch and binging Netflix or,
Yeah.
running after external stimulation like you
Yeah.
were just talking about. That's such a good point.
And I think there's a balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But it can be so scary to do that.
It is scary, but let's replace scary with curious.
That's right.
And then maybe we would be more willing to try things
Yeah.
from a place of curiosity. Because
100%.
again, getting back to focusing on things, if we keep focusing on being scared of something, then like our imagination is so powerful, as we've talked about.
Right.
And so we can make up this whole made up reality of a certain situation that may not have any grounding in actual reality.
Right.
And so by focusing on the thing we're scared of, then we can almost like whip ourselves up into a
I
frenzy of fear and not go do the thing.
Right.
Because if I got into my head around heights and like put myself in that fear, I
Mhm.
probably never would have done skydiving.
Right.
And when
Absolutely.
I did skydiving and then I climbed Ayers Rock and there was only a cable to hold on to. And somebody
Oh,
was like,
wow.
hundreds of people each year fall to their death at this point. And I'm like, not helpful information in the moment.
Oh my gosh, literally?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, poor timing
Not great.
on the trivia sharing there.
Oh, no.
But
Wow.
again, like you get to do
Yeah. Well,
harder things, scary things.
absolutely, absolutely. And do you find, like, when you actually go through and do the thing, it was not nearly as bad or as challenging as it was in your head?
Sometimes,
Really?
and sometimes
Sometimes it's just as
it was
terrifying as you
just
thought?
as
Okay.
terrifying as I thought. But on the other side of it, I got to say, like, look what I did. I did
Mhm,
that terrifying thing.
mhm.
And so it gives perspective because now when there's something else that seems scary, now I get to go like, well, I did that. And that's way more scary or
Totally.
intimidating than the thing that's in front of me right now. So I'm certain I can do this
Yes,
because I did that.
absolutely. I do that often. Yeah, I look back at things like, my husband and I, we walked on fire, and we got that
Oh,
experience, and we went to, a Tony Robbins, a 2-day event, and, you're looking at it like, that's real fire, that's real coals, and your brain is like, "Fuck that, like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not gonna work," and you really have to get a hold of yourself,
yeah.
and just like, "I can do anything." And it really is a mind bender to be able to drop into your heart space, get back into your body, trust yourself, and declare what you're about to do and that it's going to be awesome. And I, when I prepare myself and I think, oh my gosh, this is going to be a challenge, I'm like, dude, you freaking literally walked on fire. Like, you're
Yeah.
good. Or I got on a plane with a girlfriend that, well, I didn't really know her, but it was, an acquaintance, and we flew to Kuwait and
Oh.
visited our husbands while they were in the middle of war, and they were refueling. So there was like this little window where we may be able to connect with them.
So you flew there on a maybe you get to see them?
Yeah.
That's that's an adventure. Because
Yeah.
you didn't know, like, you could have gone through all of that and arrived and not had the satisfaction of the thing you went for.
Yeah.
And that is a possible outcome
Yeah.
when we take on these adventures and challenges in life that, like, there's no guarantee that just because we say yes to the thing that it's gonna turn out like we think it's going to.
Hmm.
But if we can look at those situations from, like, well, what did I learn from this? What did I gain from this?
Yeah.
Um, then it's worth it even if the thing that you went for didn't turn out.
Yeah.
And
That's it. You
so
just got to be there for it.
did it turn out? You got to see him?
Yeah, I got to see him. I got to see him, spend a few days with him, and it still turned out totally different than I thought.
Oh, in
It-
what way?
well, in the American romance film way,
That's cool.
it was not a Sandra Bullock movie. I was fully expecting a Sandra Bullock movie, by the way.
Ah, not that.
No, not that at all.
Okay.
But I mean, you think about it, it's like they're at war.
Yeah.
They're trained soldiers and they were attached to the Marines. And, I mean, it was totally his brain, his body, his essence had to be dialed in to be a weapon
Yeah.
or
A soldier.
a soldier. A
Yeah.
soldier, call it what it is. And as they're refueling, they're still in soldier mode.
Yeah.
And I'm in like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing to see you, and they're not. They're in their
Yeah.
hyper masculine, complete, like just uh I don't want to say beast mode, but
Kind of
they're
beast.
beast mode,
Yeah.
you know. Um gosh, we won't tell the story. We're gonna go a little long. Let's go ahead and oh gosh. Okay, so I had this image that I'm going to fly halfway around the world and I've got this cute outfit. I'm going to do my hair. My makeup's going to be great. I'm going to see my man at this hotel if he shows up, and we're going to have like cue music
Uh-huh.
and we're going to embrace. It's going to be passionate and beautiful and majestic. Well, meanwhile, I'd been on a plane halfway around the world. It's very tired. And they tell you not to fall asleep and all the things, right? And so I did my hair, my makeup like you would care. Like, let's be real. And I fell asleep promptly. And I didn't fall asleep where you're like having a little nap. I fell asleep where your face is smashed against the pillow and you've got lines in your face. And I don't usually wear like lots of makeup, but I had like mascara running down. I look like Tammy Faye Baker too early for those of you that have been born in the
You
last
can
2
look her up.
decades, but look her up. And my hair was just like concreted to the side of my face. I looked like a hooker who had a
After a hard night.
bad night. It was not pretty. How do I know I look like this? Because there was a bang, bang, bang at the door. I get up like a shot. Like, what does that sound? And then there's this floor to ceiling mirror. And I looked at myself and I was like, oh, who's that? Oh no, that's me. And then I'm thinking the knock on the door. Oh, does that mean he's here? And then you're like totally torn because you want to go like wash everything off. And
Yeah.
you got this whole image, and then, but you got to answer the door. And I was just like, fuck it. So I open the door and I'm like, okay, no music. Instead, my husband is there and he's emaciated because it's like, he's in the blaring sun in Iraq. And so it looks like he's wearing his dad's pants and he like had to punch a hole or something. I mean, his belt was like, I mean, he was
So, like,
skinnier than me.
beyond the available holes in the belt
Yeah,
where you have to create new ones.
right. And it's like hanging down, and he's like, I'm half black. He was so much darker than me, like
Oh,
very dark. Because he's been out in the sun, right? So you have like his whole facial structures change because he lost so much weight, and the look on his face because he's in beast mode.
and you look like a hooker
I
after a
look
hard night.
Art Night Hooker. It was just like it was like two horrible Fortnite characters that were meeting for some kind of nefarious exchange. And this is like adventure.
Yeah.
Yet this is adventure. And it's like I saw him and the whole energy of him hit me first.
Yeah.
Scent hit me second. And it was just like, forget the don't cue music. Hold on. We need to have a shower or two first.
I think that would actually make a better movie, to be honest with you. That's so great. I appreciate you sharing that.
I hope you guys do too.
I haven't laughed to tears in a minute, so that was really great. And I had like a whole little movie playing in my head as you were describing that.
Yeah.
But I think it points to the fantastical things we can create in our minds.
Yeah.
And then when reality hits, you know, depending on your relationship to life, you could like you could be in adventure mode and just be like, hey, okay, like what's next? Right?
Yeah.
This is not what I imagined. And so we're going to pivot. Or you can just, you know, crumble into a puddle because
Yeah.
your fantastical idea
Yeah.
came to a crash
Crashing
and
halt.
burn.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Right? And so
Yep.
then where do you go from there?
Yeah. You just I had to go back to gratitude. Gratitude that in all the ways, however we met, was I was able to see him. I was able to look at his face one more time
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure that that was going to be a possibility.
Hmm.
Um, and it was great that it happened at the beginning of the trip because I was able to scrap anything else that I had thought may have been what should have
Hmm.
happened.
Yeah.
I was on a whole different adventure story at
You had
that
to
point.
rewrite your script.
I had to rewrite my script, and it basically came like you step forward and then they were delivering the next line,
Yeah.
because now I had to figure out how to interact with this person
Mm,
because I didn't know the person that was in front of me.
mm,
He was a completely different person than who left,
yeah.
right? And it was like, okay, the essence of me had to really like scrap who I thought he wanted to see
Mm,
and be
mhm,
and just show up as authentic as I could,
mm.
in order to figure out how to connect with this person who was not offline, but like living in a different multiverse
Yeah,
than
totally different
I was.
reality.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I love that story, and I'm glad you got to see that, and I'm glad he came home safely,
He did. Thank you.
and,
Hence, now you understand more why he would not be coloring.
yes, coloring would not be the thing he quit his job to do. That's really funny. There's this thing that keeps popping into my head,
Sure.
and it's persistent. I don't even know how long we're going because I don't have my glasses on, so I
I
can't even
know,
see
I
the
know.
screen. It's about when people are in like a really tragic point in life.
Mhm,
Like there are a ton of people, some are having their lives torn up because of war.
mhm,
Some are having their lives torn up because a hurricane wiped out their neighborhood, city, town, a fire, whatever. We're all hearing these stories,
right.
or the people, if you're
Living them.
living this, please know I'm sending you so much love and compassion. because I think a lot of the things we've been talking about are, like when life is reasonably stable and we're
Mm,
choosing things,
yeah, fine
and
tuning.
even the crappy moments aren't as crappy as having your whole reality literally wiped.
Yeah, survival mode, yeah.
And so I want to take a moment to talk about, like, for people that are in those times right now,
Mhm.
and how, like, what can we share with them about making peace with what is in those times and focusing on creating something different, or how to listen to guidance to survive that situation. Do you I don't know why this, I mean, literally through the whole
So
podcast, this has been pinging in the back of my head. And
so, I haven't lived through a natural disaster or being in a war-torn city. Um, I've lived through my husband being at war and having to not having, but having the opportunity to support the families that were back at home. And there were, without getting into it, there were a lot of different traumatic things that happened during and after those situations. And there was a point where I was thinking, why me
Mhm.
or why us? And your life is upside down. Um, and you are consumed with hurt and uncertainty.
And
And
maybe some anger.
oh yeah, anger, resentment, um, and then not the world's experiencing different levels of, like, for some people everything's fantastic.
Right.
Even like just outside our door, everything is fantastic. And then for us, it's a shit show. And I had to, instead of ask why me, I had to ask why not me. So that's
Mhm.
where like the resilience and also asking for help from my spirit squad and being open to my higher self, my infinite self, to offer new ways to be in that moment.
Mm.
Because the case of the shoulds really caused so much suffering.
Like it shouldn't be this way.
Mm, yeah. Or if somebody should just do this so then I can have
Mhm.
this result.
Mm.
Or he should, I should, we should, they should, and expecting it to be different. Just like the expectation of the romantic movie scene.
Right.
Uh I had to realize that the most kind thing in the moment was acceptance.
Mm. Yeah.
Accepting that it is what it is. I'm in this moment, whether someone says called it in or was in energetic alignment or whatever. Here I am. If I had a choice in that moment, I would be somewhere else.
Right.
But at that moment, I couldn't figure out how to get there from here, even though I felt like I should be there, but I was here. And yet I don't have the means to get there. So I'm split because I feel like I should be there. But why do I feel like I should be there? Because I'm here. So
Mhm.
here I am. So once I accepted my should is to be here, I am here. There's nowhere else for me to be but here in this moment, experiencing this thing. Now what?
Mhm.
Once I finally got real with the situation that I was living in, then I got to make my next best choice.
Right.
And once I did that, then I started to have not just accountability, but I was getting my power back with every step.
Mm,
And I wasn't looking outside for somebody else to fix something. I wasn't looking at my partner to change.
mm,
It was like I was getting clear about what boundaries were, what I wanted my life to feel like, what next in that moment, in that room, who I was, like whatever my capacity was at that time, that's those were the only pieces I had on the game board that
mm,
I could manipulate, but I took it.
mm.
And the more I took those choice points and did something with them, then I felt like I was able to create momentum.
And that's really powerful perspective. One of the things that you said that really landed for me was getting out of the loop of thinking that we should be somewhere else or that the circumstances should be different, because that takes us away from the present moment of hearing our options, evaluating our options,
Mhm.
um, being in the moment to try to compose ourselves and create some heart coherence,
Mhm.
tuning in with our team, which sometimes is hard to do in those moments of chaos or tragedy.
Mhm.
And that's where practicing all the time when you're not in those moments allows for greater capacity to hear when we are in those moments where we don't have clarity.
Mhm.
Um, but and regardless if we're in a moment of like a small distress or a tragic, you know, changing of reality
Situations
as
or
we
yeah.
know it,
Mhm.
um, being present in the moment is where all of our options and resources lie. That's what I heard from what you shared.
Yes. Absolutely.
I
100%.
appreciate you sharing that story. And yeah, hopefully this is helpful to someone
Yeah.
um, who is dealing with any level of hardship or tragedy in life. And even in those moments, if you can find one little speck of joy to
Mhm.
light up your heart, whether it's like noticing a little flower in rubble or seeing a butterfly um, in the midst of chaos, or seeing somebody do a kind act for another person,
Yeah.
or if you're in a capacity to do a kind act for another person in those tragic moments, I think these are the things that get us back in touch with our heart
Yeah.
and out of our head where we're spinning all of these
Mhm. Scenarios.
scenarios. Thank
Yeah.
you. Um, so yeah, that's my hope for people that are dealing with hard times.
Well, and if you know of somebody who is going through hard times or struggle and you think that this episode would help them, please share that with them.
Yeah.
One of the calls for Shannon and I to do this podcast is to be able to be of service in the world and to offer through our stories or insights or intuitive guidance um, from our spirit squads and teams is to be able to connect and offer ease and grace
Yeah.
and a little bit of joy.
And maybe something you've heard will pop up into your mind in a moment, and you'll remember to connect to a different perspective that might create some new possibilities for you.
Yeah. One of the things that I learned when they were deployed, we were very fortunate because we bought a sat phone.
Mm,
And I they were so stoic because I got to talk to multiple guys, not just my husband. And I thought I needed to be on the same vibration that they were in, that I needed to be rigid and stoic and kind of hard, um, and suffer along with them to show my loyalty
Mm.
to them. And that if I had a joyous moment or was having fun, that I'd be betraying them.
Yeah.
But then I realized quickly that I was the one that had the candle.
Yeah.
And if I shielded the candle because I thought that they wanted camaraderie in the dark,
Mm.
it was like they were needing me to like be the joy sponge.
Yeah.
So then they could take a little squeeze and then be like, "Oh, okay," and like get a little bit of that vibration.
Yeah.
So um it's not to say that I was an ostrich and I pretended none of all of that was going on. I was very aware of that, but I purposefully chose to go out and experience joy and set my heart and mind on beautiful things and going and having beautiful moments that I could bring back to them
Yeah.
because they like breathed it in.
Ah.
And it was like putting fuel in the tank. And I like to think that maybe when they had moments that could have gone not great,
Mhm.
or there was, moments where they could have interacted with somebody that had a kind offering, that they were able to see that kindness
Mm.
because they still had connections to that resonance.
Yeah.
So
Really
if
great point.
we think that, and I had a conversation with one of my groups, it was like, well, there's all this suffering in the world and I can't sleep at night and I'm so pissed off and I cry and I'm upset and I worry, worry, worry. It's okay. We can get upset. We can get outrageously upset and take action and let that action be of purpose in the best way possible. And sending worry out into the world is amplifying worry.
Yeah.
So take conscious action instead of worry. And also take determined action to cultivate beauty or joy in any way that you can, because then you're amplifying that and we need that. We are warriors of light
Yeah.
and warriors of joy and of love, and if it's lacking in the world, it doesn't mean that we have to not do it because it seems inappropriate. It's more appropriate than ever to
Yeah.
cultivate that and make that accessible for other people.
Yeah. My husband and I were watching the news the other night, and there was another tragic story, and, we were talking about love, and love is actually energetically, love is the antidote to
Mm,
all of the things that most of us want to heal or change in the world.
yeah.
And so, to your point, instead of feeding worry out into the field, because we've talked about how we're all connected through this collective field of consciousness
Mhm,
and quantum entanglement, which is basically like everything's connected,
mhm,
even though everything looks separate to the surface of our human eyes.
yeah.
Um, that we have the power of cultivating love within, or compassion, um, and sending that out into the field of
Yes.
collective consciousness. And so, I think I've talked about this before, where when I hear a tragic story, whether it's on the news or wherever, I just take a moment and I pause and I connect to my heart and I just imagine sending love and compassion
Mhm.
to all the people involved in that
Yep.
situation.
Yep.
And even if we don't have a specific, you can just cultivate love and send it out into the field
Mm,
of consciousness. And we can't do that if we're not allowing ourselves to experience joy and love in our life.
mhm.
And so fill your cup first, and then you can share it.
Yep. Offer that overflow to the world. I call it hot spots.
Mhm.
And I look in my heart and, I ask for my overflow to go to the hot spots on
Mhm.
the planet. And so like you, it's a very similar practice. And um I think it's an addition to the peace and the calmness that we're hopefully cultivating.
Yeah, it makes me feel better. I mean,
Hey,
I definitely
you
like,
got to start there.
yeah, do an experiment and just sit and think about something shitty for a few and see how you feel. And then take a few to think about something that brings you joy or lights you up or, whatever happiness word you want to put in there.
Yep.
And then see how you feel. Like tune into your body and pay attention to your thoughts. And that right there, it's like
Huge,
instant feedback,
huge exercise.
instant
Mm,
feedback. And then you get to choose. And we always get to choose what frequency we want to tap into.
that's right. Absolutely. Why not you? Now, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Call of the day in a time where everything is changing.
Yep.
I think we have to let go of the notion of certainty,
Mm,
bring in our focus to asking for clarity
yeah.
and direction and curiosity.
Yeah. Get back to your essence. Yeah. Rip down those, rip down the blinds, rip down the shades. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now let's get down to the fundamentals of what are we here for? Can you activate joy in your life? And if joy is too far, where can you activate calmness or peace? And if
Yeah.
that's too far, where can you activate your next breath that gives you a little bit more space
Yeah.
and gratitude? I think we've come to the end of this episode. What
I
about
think
you?
so. I'm guessing it's a marathon episode.
And we want to thank you for joining us on Practical Mystic Podcast. And we're sending you ease and joy.
Yes. And we hope that you continue listening. And we want to also share that we put in the show notes some of the highlights of things that
Yes.
you might
Good memory.
um, try in your life. And so if you want to check out the show notes and see if there's a little snip
Like,
or two of,
yeah, invitations, exercise, little exercises. So we try to
yeah,
give you more than what you expect. We want to over deliver and definitely don't skip out on those show notes because there's some good stuff in there.
yeah. And also share it with a friend if you think that there's somebody in your life who would also benefit from, yeah, any of the stories or
Yeah.
perspectives that we're sharing. And we're sending everybody a lot of love and compassion. And I hope that you find something that sparks joy in your of life that you're in
Mm.
right now.
Sending y'all ease and grace. Bye for now.